Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural round of the Simufur AM Championship here at Spa-Francorchamps. Joined to me tonight will be Fezz Fox as our co-commentator and a whole host of live stewarding. A new round, a new championship here at Simufur, sort of to get the newer drivers bedded in with their, with the feet and with the racing skills. But great to see some great times in the practice server and quite a mix of cars here, I would say, Fez. Interesting to see some of the Hondas being brought back out to play from when's the last time you really saw a Honda being used in anger? Yeah, well, it's one of those. You pick your car for your championship. A lot of these drivers will be kind of picking the car that they maybe feel the most comfortable in being these are the AM drivers. But you gotta sort of pick your poison for the entire season, where your car might be brilliant at Spa, it might fall down elsewhere. But I think that's why we're going to have some really great racing. And looking up and down the field as well, quite a few new names, quite a few names that we know and recognise, and I'd say a couple that I actually know from a few other championships who've come over here to join us. That being the 115 down there of Grim Lilith, and that Porsche. I think for they, at least unless Grim has changed it, otherwise they still race on a gamepad.
Yes. Apologies for my not being speaking because I had my microphone turned off. But there does seem to be a little bit of discomfort or a little bit of distortion on Ryan's end. It seems to be coming from me, possibly. Next for you, and you can hear Ryan properly. Let us know in chat if everything's fine. If not, then plenty of other communities joining us to race, which is good. It's good to see racing are and coming racing with us.
Yeah, nice. Quite a few great liveries as well that I've seen up and down the field. Hopefully, we'll be able to see some of these, some of the custom liveries as we go through the races. Custom liveries been a thing in ACC for a while now, and the settings that we run on here at Simstrata allows the drivers to upload their custom liveries and for us to download them a lot easier and to be able to see them. I mean, the incredibly white NSX of Blaze Pine as well. He's shown some great pace in the NSX in practice server as well recently. So it'd be interesting to see what the 37 can do. It makes your championship a lot easier if you can run out ahead, with some points early on rather than chasing down it right at the end of the season.
Like that's better. I've changed setting. Although I can't hear the race. I can't hear. Just check something. Apologies for the lack of sound in game. I don't know why that is. Cut quickly.
I also see in chat as well some of the people coming out to support, and people I know from other once again other communities. Phil Roberts has come. I'm sure he'll be cheering on the 115. And as the cars head back out on the track, it will be the start of qualifying. 20-minute qualifying, fast track, and 32 Cs. It's going to be a bit of a quick fire round because at Spa, can't really afford to invalidate your lap too many times before you've very quickly realised that you've run out of laps. I mean, you'll only maybe get 10 flyers.
Yeah, I can get really bad feedback. Every word you say.
Well, there you go. I've been corrected. The 115 and actually the 222, as well as being cheered out Steffi in the BMW, the M4, which was once again that was the new big thing for quite a while. I remember in the ACC, it's kind of calmed down now a little bit as the BMW. It went from everyone using it to now a couple of people have stuck out with it and are really making it work. But it is a very a very stable, very solid car for a first time out. It used to kind of be like if you said front engine car that wasn't going to kill you is it would always be, say, the Bentley or something along those lines. But nowadays it seems if you want a good starter car, it's the BMW. It does seem to struggle sometimes at the absolute sharp end of the grid, at the very maximums when you've got to push a car that hard. But for a starting and a quick pace car, it's a very, very sensible choice.
Right, I've narrowed it down. It's going to be RTX voice. I'm going to turn it off. So hold on.
Well, in the background, while we have some technical gremlins which are being sorted out, hopefully as well with the stream, as the cars come roaring up, it will be some of the first time setters, and it'll be really interesting to see what an AM time is around here, or what we classified as an AM time as ours.
Right, I think that's kind of better now. Apologies, everyone. This is not going to plan at all. That's true. That is true. Right, let's try it. Yeah. Do you know what the problem is let me see if I can change that to that. This ran perfectly last week when we did the we did the test stream. Yeah. Yes, unfortunately we cannot hear Ryan at the moment. I don't know why this has all gone wrong. It has just completely shat the bed. Excuse my language.
You've proper buggered it.
Oh, there we go. You're back.
Hey!
We can now hear you again. So we can hear me and we can hear you, but we can't hear the game.
You need to quit taking my microphone lead out. That's your problem, you see. We need that lead as much as we want it for the for the T. Yeah, I heard. We might be.
Yes, we have game sound. We're back.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it only took us 5 minutes, but we have it. We can now hear the glorious sound of the McLaren 720S V8 coming up to the line. Actually, we'll be probably one of the first time setters, I believe, if this is a valid lap, coming into the bus stop chicane. Throw it left, throw it right, even throw it left, trying to get a good drive out onto the straight. And for Cerulin, the 94, it will be. It'll move them up to P8. In fact, I think we don't have the exact live timings on.
Is your live timing not working?
I know if you on the timings board to the left, we've got we don't quite have them. And looking at it so far, anyway, off our screens in the comm box, the best lap so far is a 21.6, and that is Charter in the number 24 Audi, the one we're currently looking at as well. So setting the early pace. Not too far behind as well on a 21.7 is Jamie in that in the 123, one of our sort of a couple of McLarens. I kind of expected a few more McLarens this season because it is quite the common choice car, but I suppose sort of with a lot of these drivers, they pick what they're comfortable in.
Yeah, pretty much. I think people were maybe a bit scared that the McLaren got a nerf from the latest update. Maybe that's why we're seeing just the one Bentley. Maybe that's why we're seeing less Audis. Well, although Charter is in the old Audi, I've just noticed he's not actually in the new Audi.
Yeah, that's the old Audi.
And he's still setting
out.
As Surex goes and does a 20.9 in this very reflective Aston Martin.
Very, very reflective, kind of a remnants of the old silver bullet Mercedes with a Pirelli sticker that looks like someone very quickly before the race slapped it on. They were, we haven't put the sponsors on, lads. Quickly, grab me that tape. There we go. So for the 420 early poll into the session, it was a 220.9. So the times are starting to come down, and I kind of expected that as well, because the track when they went out was fast. It will be slowly dynamically rubbering in, and 32C is still fairly toasty for your tyres.
Yeah, the track's going to be nice and warm. It's going to take them a few laps to get the correct pressures and temperatures all into their tires for the optimal lap. Charter goes second again. This is going to be very close by the looks of it. Paula again, P3 at the moment, just 2 tenths basically behind Surex. There's quite a lot of decent laps coming out. Snowdog leaves the pits. On to an out lap. Who is on a fast lap? Apparently Surex is still on a fast lap, so we'll stick with him and we'll go on board. It's been a while since I've heard the Aston on board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. The last time I actually drove it was maybe 4 or 5 seasons ago. That was just about when I met you, and it was like CHSR. But that was when this car was just the car you drove. If you wanted a front engine car, you didn't drive anything but the Aston Martin. And Surex catches a little bit of traffic into the bus stop chicane, not exactly where you want for your lap times coming up to the line. Will it have improved them? It will have done. It's now a 220.937 was the last lap, and their best was a 220.935. So actually, not an improvement, but very, very close and very consistent for 2 times in a row.
He's on outlap, and Zar is on outlap. I'm trying to find out where I am, because it doesn't seem to update very often, this software. So Zar is starting a brand new lap now. This is in that AlphaTauri liveried NSX, one of 4 NSXs. Yellow flag. Ant just finishing a lap. Now let's talk about Blaze, because he was I was going to say quietly confident, but he was vocally confident about his chances here. What's your thoughts on what's happening here? Just not a clean lap in, or is he struggling? Were people hiding their pace?
I think it's the track. I mean, if you look now, the track has finally clicked over to optimum. I think so. Blaze has probably been one of the first out that's managed to, really gain on the track turning optimum, and that's why now it's 220.3 was his best and his last lap. Obviously, the P2 has been taken by Paula Brady, the 148 Audi, another one of the. In fact, that's the new gen Audi. I think we've got one old gen and one new gen Audi, but yeah. That's been taken by P2, 220.5, so 0.2 of a second separate these drivers, and I think now that the track's got optimum, people can start to push that a little bit more. 8 minutes left as well. If you've gone where you fueled up for most of the session, which I know some people like to do, the fuel load will be getting lower and lower. And the Audi, remember when this car as well used to be absolutely dominant here at Spa? It used to be terrifying what pace this car could get, and I'm talking the 216s, the 215s almost.
Yeah, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time with the Evo 2, but from what I drove, it's very competent now. Improving Chuckles 5/10 up on their time. And the beautiful BWT Audi, or Audi, Mercedes. It's clearly a Mercedes.
The Evo 2 is a bit of a strange car overall, because it has been made a lot more safe, and a lot, like, you can take default aggressive for that car and just drive the door handles off of it, and it will give you, very good times. And Chuckles, there was not an improvement on that lap around, but it will give you very good times. But some people report that it actually, for them, is a little bit slower because of the aero. It's been obviously made that little bit slower down the straights, and you have to push a lot harder, whereas the old Audi was, the pace was incredible, but it was very, very scary. It would want to kill you all the time. So it's a good balance, I think, and it'll be interesting to see what the two Audis in a race pace might do, Charter and Brady, because they're both not starting a million miles apart, and both will be, I assume, taking similar strategies.
Yeah, I think the update was mainly for stability, but I think with stability comes a wee bit of life on your tires. You're a little bit easier on the tires. You're not sliding as much, so it could be interesting to see how far the Audi can go here. Of course, we do have a 20-minute pit window, so everyone's kind of compressed into the 20 minutes where they have to pit. So there's no leaving it to the last lap to go for, a quick change of the tires and away you go.
Yeah, which means that some of the cars have got to kind of play with that. I mean, I'm looking at the Soul Bentley. Normally it would be, for a Bentley driver, go as long as you possibly can and then change the tyres. But I think the pit window racing, it makes it a lot closer, because, it kind of condenses it into 2 30-minute sprints a lot of times. There's no point taking a full tank. You may as well half tank it and see what you can do. And it means that cars like these, the Hondas, after the green flag, and you've basically opened them up to the Kemmel Straight, it'll be really interesting to see what happens if they can manage it over Eau Rouge. But then the Porsches, they're going to start coming back into their own in Sector 2. And like I said, you can't really discount the Audis now that they've been made that little bit nicer to drive, if the drivers can hook it up with them. So it's going to be interesting to see. A lot of the Porsches are sort of down here, 18th, 19th. I think, once again, I've seen these cars. They just haven't been really out a lot since the track turned optimum. Grim Lilith is currently our highest Porsche, all the way up in P8 is that 115. So doing very well for that.
And they're currently 5/10 up on their best lap. So,
and the other thing that Grim seems to be a master of, and I know because I've been in a race exactly here that it happened, Grim is very good at staying out of trouble. Like, Grim, the 115 will take nothing that is too risky or dangerous. They started basically last here in a RCI night owl race that I was in. I was a bit further up. I got collected in a massive crash. Grim Lilith finished 3rd in class by just staying consistent and staying on the road.
That's going to be the key for this championship, really, isn't it? It's just staying out of trouble, collect the points where you can, and of course, if you're fast, that helps too.
Yeah, but I think consistency is going to be a big thing. As like we said, the AM Championship is sort of for a lot of the newer drivers, and people might have one track where they are, really blazing fast, but will then fall off the rest of the season. Whereas if you're just consistently on the podium, then we've seen races before where the championship, the winner has been crowned without a single win to their name.
Yeah, I remember it was actually one of the first RCI championships I did. It was the Silver Intercontinental GT, and I won the championship without a single win. And I won it by 1 point. Yeah,
that's the other thing to mention, is that any point no matter how low, don't matter even if you finish all the way down, 15th, 16th, 17th, the way back end of the grid, that 1 point can be what it takes to bring yourself into that championship battle right at the end. 3 minutes 30 to go. People are going to really start to shuffle
is on for an absolute blinder of a lap here. He is 1.2 seconds up.
Ooh.
Let's just hope we can keep it together for the final chicane.
This could very much be provisional pole setter if you can keep it in through the bus stop chicane. Brakes as late as you dare.
A little bit deep.
A little bit deep into the first half. Can they keep it through the second? It will be a time loss. Still up, but a lot of time lost there, but still up into provisional pole.
What a lap from Bracken. That came out of absolutely nowhere. He hasn't really been tooting his horn or anything in the Discord, about how well he thinks he can do, and just that time that's up there. That's going to be hard to beat, I think.
But we know that he's definitely got more time, so all he needs to do for this lap
is half a second. Blaze retakes.
And Blaze retakes the provisional pole, first 2:19, a 2:19.912. So Bracken's got definitely more time in that bus stop chicane if he doesn't run wide. Blaze might have a little bit more time, still got another lap to go. Charter might get another lap in, but it's in fact they're lucky at the time. They'll get one more lap, but not one after that. It's Blaze and Bracken who'll get basically 2 laps going after this. For the 24 Audi coming up to the line there, 0.4 of a second up, in fact 0.5 of a second up, bit of a 10th through Blanchemont. And will they have anything through the bus stop chicane?
That was nice.
It's often a very difficult corner to master, and coming up to the line, 0.6, 0.7. Will it be? It'll be P3 for Charter in the old generation Audi.
Bolly is nearly a second up. Losing a bit of time, gaining a bit of time. Let's see what that puts them. P6. And Jasper again, a second up.
Times are really starting to come down now.
Yeah, the
really starting to come
ramping up now. This is brilliant. This is really entertaining. Bracken is not improving, so maybe a little bit of a cool down lap before another flyer.
Yeah, well, also it could be that there's maybe a little bit of traffic ahead, or just had a slight problem. We know where all that driver's time is. They just need to basically stay even on the delta all the way to the bus stop chicane, and then I'm going to hazard, I guess, that there's maybe another 2 to 3 tenths there. Maybe a little bit more if you get the line absolutely right. As Jamie thunders up to the line, our sole. In fact, no, we have 2 Ferraris. I was going to say our sole Ferrari. The other one is here. It's the 113 of the 223 Racing Pride car. So coming up to the line, bus stop chicane. Got to keep it nice and tidy and get on the power early in the Ferrari to get the turbos spooled up. And it will be a big jump from them, 11th up to 6th. And 1 more lap to go.
Oh, that was a beautiful first sector from Grimm. That was 0.6 up on their time. It's 0.7 on just their first sector. 0.8. Oh, their time is... Yeah, they're on it. That's going to be a quick lap.
I think this Porsche is finally hooked up, and now they're, it's the Race Ventura car is really starting to rock and roll. Can't run it too wide there at No Name. It's a scary area in a Porsche. You sort of bounce over that inside curb, and the nose, you bounce the nose, it wants to shove you out wide. Yeah. And as I says, remember this driver, the 115, races on a controller. It's probably the fastest controller user I've ever known, and has legitimately beat me at Laguna Seca in pre-quali. I could not go faster than this car at Laguna Seca. Even, with everything that I tried in my Bentley and everything. Nope, couldn't go faster than them.
Well, they're currently 1.1 seconds up, so this could be P2, P3 maybe? P3 by the looks of it. Yeah, P3.
That's if there's not any more time in the
that
stop
is
chicane.
True, yeah. We don't know what their fastest lap was like. It could be an extra half a second in the bus stop chicane.
Which can be easily done if you outbrake yourself by, 3 meters. Then you've soared way on in the Porsche. What will it be coming up into the bus stop chicane? There you go, braking nice and early. There you go. It was more.
Do you know
time,
what there was? There was
bit.
2 tenths, 3
There
tenths.
was 2 tenths fallen off, maybe a
P3.
little bit. But P3 for the 115, you
Bracken
cannot complain at that.
Bracken is not going to improve. Wolf and Foxdale does improve by 1.3 seconds. And then Blaze is still on a fast lap. He's 0.3 up currently, so he could extend his lead over Bracken here.
Oh, you gotta be careful with those track limits running out as wide as you dare. You can have two wheels off the side of the course there. That isn't a track limit. It's if you put the other two wheels off, then you've got a problem there. Running up Blanchemont, a very scary corner in a mid-engine car. Certain cars, anyway. I know, like Audis might want to rotate out from underneath you there if you have to do anything that unsettles the car, as in brake, any kind of steering adjustment if you're battling someone. And racing up to the line, a little bit of time lost through the bus stop chicane, about a 10th, but it still will be pole position for Blaze Pine, a 2:19.7 with Bracken only 3/10 behind, and Grim Lilith, 400ths behind Bracken.
Yeah, that was close. That was way closer than it was looking like it was going to be in the practice server. So we've got definitely plenty of races on our hands. I would like to talk about Blaze's downforce setup, because apparently he is running maximum wing on that thing. But going by the sector times, it's not proving to be the case. He's fastest in Sector 1 and Sector 2, which is completely the opposite of a high downforce setup.
Yeah, the Honda obviously does have quite a lot of straight line speed to begin with, so putting the wing on complete maximum it'll slow it down, but not say as much as if you did it with a Porsche. What might be happening, though, that we're seeing is if he's got maximum downforce, he can push through Eau Rouge much harder. So then your speed onto the Kemmel is already quite high. And then, through Les Combes and Pouhon, the really high downforcey areas, that's where it's working. It does kind of make sense, though, because Sector 3, it does lose out a little bit, so which is an uphill, where the run onto that is pretty sedate, I'd say. So it might be. I think, as well, you've got to you can't discount the fact that will make the car a lot nicer to drive over an hour.
Yeah. Well, he was saying how good the car felt pretty much through Rouge and Radion. It was just flat out no scary moments, so that seems to be playing dividends at the moment.
And I think that's what we're seeing there, and that you can just carry that speed over. So there will be, I think, it is a 2-minute moment before the grid. Obviously, let the drivers sort of get the setups, get the fuel that they need, and sort of formulate a race plan if they haven't got one already. Will be a 20-minute pit window. As Fezz will probably correct me, I don't think there's any requirements. It's just the pit window, if I'm not mistaken.
There is a mandatory tyre change.
Well, there you go. I've been corrected. So mandatory tyre change, meaning you'll have to be stopped in the box for at least 30 seconds, meaning that there's no point even running a full tank and doing a stop and drop. I think a lot of these cars will be on, that sort of the sprint style of tank.
Yes, so would you dare to make any predictions at the moment?
It's hard to call. Obviously, the number 37 have got the pace. It seems, if they can hold it, when the car is full up with race fuel. But I'm really not taking my eye off the 115 of Grim Lilith. They really are good at just staying out of trouble, and race pace for that car as well always seems to be very good. They never fall off in race pace, I'd say.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard in the Porsche, obviously, to Sector 1 and Sector 3 are going to be difficult to kind of make a pass and then keep that pass, secure. But if they can pull away in the second sector, then you're kind of golden for the rest of the lap.
Yeah, I think both cars really up the front rows are going to have a little bit of a problem. I mean, Bracken, the 77, the McLaren isn't exactly a rocket ship off the line. The Porsche, if Grim gets the launch, really can, get up and go. But then you've got Charter in that 24 Audi, another naturally aspirated V10 car that will really want to get up and go when the lights go green. I don't know what the Honda is like off the line, but it is a V6 turbo. There will probably be a moment where it's got to spool up. And Schurex they're going to be really under fire, I think, because that Aston Martin, I mean, you and me have both driven it. Unless you brake boost it, if you put your foot down, and there is a noticeable pause before something happens.
I think the saving grace here against Grimm and the Porsche is that it's a very short run up to Eau Rouge, so the Porsche won't have the massive advantage it usually has off the start.
No.
So yeah, I think I again does the NSX used to have a lot of turbo lag. Whether that's still the case, we'll find out in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those calls at the where Grimm will have to sort of tuck in, I think, and just sort of hold it down the straight if you can, just keep with the leading group. You kind of as well at Spa starts, where it's everyone is bunched up and everyone's trying to go through Eau Rouge too wide. You've got to kind of pick your battles and think, do I need to go for this? Because you can very easily have a slight issue or go for a move and it not pull off and lose anything up to 23 places in some cases. I've seen people in few races I've been in go from basically first, had a crash at Les Combes, and have ended up almost last.
Yeah. I wonder who's done that before. Never me. No, definitely not.
I mean, I went from fourth in class at Spa to dead last at that night owl race. I can confirm that the wall on the outside of Les Combes is not very good for your BMW M6 if you hit it face on. I won't suggest it, lads. It's just not the strategy, really. So as the final sort of session timer ticks down, everyone will have locked in the strategies and all the cars are sat waiting, and it will be the 37 to lead us out on the full formation lap. Got to get some heat in these tires and the brakes, and just trying to get the car warmed up for the start. At least the track temperature is still 32, and as it says, it's a full formation lap, so you'll at least have time to get everything sorted.
Yeah, plenty heat in the tires. Track temperature is pretty much identical to what it was in qualifying, so the guys will know, apart from maybe fuel loads, they'll know what their car is going to do. But yeah, I think we can either have a disaster here, or if everyone plays it safe, plays the long game, this is an hour-long race, we can have a really good race on our hands here.
Yeah, and that was expressed in the driver's briefing, that it's Spa, it's an hour long.
Yes. Everyone has been warned.
Yeah, and the live stewarding as well that we will have. They will be they will be bringing up people if they have felt you've done something wrong. I think we have Nate, if I'm not mistaken, we have Nate, Joker, and Bolly tonight on live stewarding.
We also have a late edition of Andreas Spitzer, who has joined as well. So there will be plenty of eyes to look at things.
Which is as well, you kind of have to pick a group of cars as a steward and kind of watch them like a hawk. So they'll be wanting for a nice calm night, but this is Spa, and how many times have we seen accident? Usually what happens is the first 2 or 3 laps are very, very intense at Spa, and then people kind of work out where they're actually going.
Yeah, well, we've both been in like pro tier Spa races, and it has still all went wrong.
Oh yeah, Spa is just the nature of the track and the nature of that GT start. I mean, a lot of people who are watching this, I know in the Simufur community, a lot of people are Formula 1 fans. We don't use that start line. We use the old GT start line, the one that goes down the hill towards Eau Rouge. So turn 1 or lap 1 is going through Eau Rouge Radion essentially.
Well, usually,
and then the timing line is there.
Pretty much as a double F1 doesn't do double file after La Source basically, so
yeah,
it's usually not too bad, whereas GT you're 2x2 by 30, so there's a potential for a lot to go wrong here.
And even in the real race, I mean, once again, they're like Spa last year, that was exactly the same, 2x2 going all the way up it. British GT, when they come here, they use the same procedure as well, 2x2 going up it. It makes for some great racing, but as a driver, it's terrifying, and you're basically staring at the helicorsa and the radar, thinking, it's like, when am I going to be killed? When is it all going to go wrong, and when is that car going to come, sliding sideways across my windscreen? Had that before.
Yes. Especially the pit lane as well. The pit lane's very tricky here, especially on cold tyres. You really have to modulate the throttle and pay attention to the wall to the right of you. And also, it's a dangerous place to be in case someone actually does lose it over Eau Rouge and Raidillon while you're coming out of the pits. That can end your race, and you've barely even left the pit lane.
Yeah, and we've seen that where some poor people have just kind of been, through no fault of their own, they've just happened to be there when the accident occurred. I know one that happened exactly, and once again, it was another RCI race that I commentated on, and it was a very strange yellow flag. And when we looked back on the replay, just this Mercedes coming out of the pits, all well and happy, just done his stop, very good stop, on the Delta. And suddenly there is a Porsche in his door. Just happened to be there. But 2x2 up now as we finally go. All the cars will have hopefully got some heat in the tyres. It is the 37 Blaze Pine. The NSX will lead us off. And Bracken also in the 77 McLaren 720S on the front row. Be interesting to see two cars that might not get off the line as quickly as the two behind them. Obviously the Porsche and the Audi. So be interesting to see. Will we end up with too wide up for Eau Rouge? I think so. I think the NSX though is going to be able to, use the straight line speed if they can get through the corners without being too challenged.
Well, a couple of weeks of build up. Here we are. We're about to start the race.
Couple of weeks of build-up and quite a lot of practice laps for some of these people. And I see the chat as well. Someone was saying we can't let the OnlyFans car win. I mean, it is a real team. It's the British T team. This is modern racing, ladies and gentlemen. These are the sponsors now that you're going to get. You're not going to have like your cigarette money. You're going to have OnlyFans money. And the green flag waves. The lights go out, and it is Blaze Pine up. Look how close Grim Lilith gets off the line, and see with the Audi of Charter. Too wide going up Eau Rouge, and it is still side by side with the Grip Lilith and Bracken. Actually, it's the Porsche looking to have a good launch, but just loses out in the straight line.
Yeah, Blaze is pretty much checked out now. I mean, I'd say checked out. He's only half a second up the road, but that was a very clean start. It seems like we don't have any incidents at all. That is incredible.
I can't see. As we say that, number 15.
What happened here?
What has befallen the number 15 Lexus in the middle of the pack?
Oh, a slight tap from Cerulean behind. Oh, that's not what you want.
Just wasn't expecting the accordion effect, which happens in La Source. Have got the car turned back round and continued on. The other thing as well, they will have to carry this damage to the pit window unless they want to make two stops, because obviously unless you pit within the pit window, it's not valid. As Grim Lilith's looking up the inside of Bracken, a slight touch through Pouon, a scary moment, but the 115 does go through.
It'll be interesting to see what the stewards make of that. We have a spinner here. Let's see what happened here.
The 448 BWT car. Now I have a feeling, is this Mercedes?
It's just a misjudgment.
Yeah, perhaps slightly spooked by the BMW braking early, but the Mercedes there, when you've got a heavy fuel load on it and slightly cold tyres, is horrible. I've seen, like top level drivers be caught out there. I remember even seeing Tuna Savalainen backwards there, which is, if you know that name, he's not exactly any slouch, but even he's been caught back up. And looking back through the field, Snowdog in the lone Bentley trying to make his way up through the field on the back of Jamie. You don't want to be doing that too many times. You pick up quite a few track limits.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch out for the track limits there.
The drive-through here is just punishing.
Oh, that's the worst. I've done it before a few times. You have so long to reflect on your own mistake.
Ooh, as Sherex looks up the inside of Charter. Late lunge, and the Audi can still get the drive out of the corner just because of the Aston Martin's turbo lag, and now Paula Paradis going to look at capitalising this. This is going to be it's a Aston Martin and an Audi sandwich, the new gen and the old gen trying to make their way through the field, flying over Raidillon, this Paula.
Bit of a hit there for Snowdog. Was that? I think think that was easy.
I think that either that might be
137. That's the 137.
That's the 137 car.
Where is that? I can't see that car at all. Was it 137 or was it 117? It might have been. It was 117. Sorry, 117.
It's Skylar Fusky.
Oh, it's all happening now. Oh, just a spin on their own.
Loses the rear end into Lecom. Easy to do when you come off the brakes, the mid-engines, if you don't get the balance exactly right. And that's a scary place to be because you can't back out until you've basically let the whole field through.
Yep. Hopefully they rejoined safely and didn't put anyone at risk. The steward shouldn't have too much to look at there. So the gaps are opening up a little bit, and we still have a couple of people within half a second. But yeah, it's Blaze is 1.7, 1.68 in front. Grim, with that pass on Bracken, should really start now knuckling down, trying to catch. Chuckles and ZZ down the inside, pretty easy there for Chuckles.
Yeah, well, the 448 didn't pick up any damage from their spin. Just
that was very fortunate for them. Maybe
just lost time.
Maybe a flat spot or two, but this should be okay to drive around that. Here we have a good battle here for 13th.
This is the other Race Ventura car, the 222 of Sefi, trying to get up around Cerulin. Might have had that tiny bit of damage as well from, we saw them tap the Lexus round at the start. The McLaren goes very deep into the bus stop chicane, but the 222 can't really do much with that. Once again, that car sort of suffers a little bit from turbo lag once again.
Oh, we have an incident.
Oh, Zar is off the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri Honda, what's happened here?
Oh, no. Oh.
Misjudged it on the brakes.
Another incident? So if this is the replay, I think this maybe still be the replay. It is. What happened here? Oh no, too much curb. Far too much
curb on the inside. Will they make it all the way to the wall? Yes, they will. Hard into the wall. Heavy damage for that Aston Martin. Such a shame because that car looked very, very promising, and that really was, taking the fight to charter. It's now put our two Audis in 4th and 5th, respectively. So it'll be interesting to see if Paula can catch charter and have a battle in matched machinery. And speaking of matched machinery, all the McLarens appear to have clumped together, apart from Bracken. He didn't want to be part of the McLaren sandwich.
It's not going to work. It is going to work.
But it might do. It turns back to the inside for No Name. And it's still too wide. And actually, Jasper in the background's thinking, can we sort this out, lads? What's going on here? And actually, they finally do. Bunny backs out of that situation, going sideways through Pouon.
Careful. I'll tell you what, Grim has closed the gap.
Grim started. This is, I kind of expected it once you allow Grim to sort of have a moment of peace and get on with it. That Porsche will really start to fly, and
it's hard into the wall for
one car hard into the wall. And actually, it looks like they might have parked it.
Yeah, they're all the way down the order. Side by side through Blanchimont, Jasper and Cerulean. Jasper brave around the outside, keeps it within track limits. Well done.
Brave move, but it pulls off for the 223 Audi, slowly making their way up as the McLaren tries the late braking maneuver and very wisely throws it off at a bus stop chicane.
A couple of them went off there. That was yeah.
What happened with Sefi? Coming into the bus stop. I think once again...
Too busy. Oh, no.
Might have seen what was going on ahead and missed the braking zone.
It is all kicking off now. What is happening? There's another yellow flag. Oh, no. What's going on? Oh, no. That's the worst rejoin I've seen. Oh,
Well, live stewards will be...
This is... it was looking promising, but I think the stewards now have quite a lot of work on their hands.
Yeah, the stewards now got something to do, but as well as we've said in the drivers' briefing, the penalties will be applied. In the race, there won't be any post-race of points deduction penalties, etc. And as well, like a lot of these drivers may be new to sim racing, the AMP Championship. Obviously, some of them have been around our community a longer time. It's just they haven't got the pro pace. But some of these drivers are just starting to have to learn what rejoins and pace and blue flags and what is all acceptable and what you're trying to break them into slowly.
We do have our first warning for car 22 for driving standards. So maybe there's a slight bump or something that caught the steward's attention they didn't feel was worthy of a penalty.
22 is the Loveless, and that's the other Aston Martin. So yeah, the penalties do show that they're starting to come out slowly.
Currently the closest battle on track is Pablo and is that a Lexus up front? It is.
It's a very sort of beaten up Lexus from the damage earlier that they sustained on lap 1. So
that's a good point, yes, that they're going to be struggling quite a lot. That explains the wide running turn in there.
And I believe as well the Pablo was the NSX that looped it round at Les Cons.
Yep.
So they went nose first into the wall, but not as heavy hit as that 15 Lexus received. So both cars carrying a little bit of damage, but still managing to sort of have a little bit of a battle. This car we didn't see in qualifying much.
They came in quite late, I think. Yeah, they had troubles with getting into the server.
So for the AF Corsa, just trying to move up through the field and gain any points they can. And what's happened once again to the 15 Lexus?
Oh, far too much curb. Oh, that's not gone well.
Once again, kept it out of any further damage. So just another moment, pick it back up, and they are still continuing on though in that 15.
Ooh.
And is flying over Radion, but it will all come undone for the 113 AF Corsa.
I hope they can find a gap to rejoin safely.
Wave yellow flags will be enforced, and you've just gotta. Well, they're doing the very, very smart thing.
Yes.
They're over completely one side of the track. Just hold the brakes, stay completely still.
Oh.
There's a gap now, and they've got to try and turn it round. As actually the 15 has once again had an off going over the top of Radion.
I think it might be worth just pitting that car and getting it fixed, because they're just going to lose so much more time with the damage.
And there we go. Both cars get back underway.
Oh, it's all just falling apart.
And what's happened to Jasper?
We're definitely not
car around them.
We're definitely not short of anything to talk about. Oh, just get onto the marbles.
Just looped themselves around.
Well, we do have some things happening. Sarah goes down the inside of Skylar. Sorry, is that Skylar? No.
That's
Jasper. Sorry, it's Jasper.
That's Jasper. That's the orange Ferrari.
I'm too busy looking at the leaderboard rather than actually what's on screen.
Ooh, a lot of curb taken from the Audi. The 604 still hangs it around the outside, and there you go. Manages to get the position back. It looked like it might have been surrendered there briefly, but 604 continues on.
It's going to be a long 8 minutes now until the pit window opens. So there's a couple of cars that are really going to struggle, as Alexis is still having issues.
I'm almost surprised that I think any more hits that we might actually see the meatball flag brought out for that car.
Yeah, it just looks like it has no grip at all. It's unfortunate for them, but we have a good battle here for 13th, or 12th should I say, between Sarah and Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper seeming to show the pace. That car's also carrying damage now as well, with the 223 damage to the rear that you can see. So I wonder what handling that is going to cause for the Ferrari. Is going over the top, up for Rouge, over Radion. They're still committed to it. And I think as well, the Ferrari is no slouch in a straight line versus the Porsche. I think it's going to be all said and done before they come.
Jasper really has one of the highest top speeds. The Ferrari is our quickest car at 264 kilometers on the Kemmel Straight. Sarah actually one of the slowest at 253. So that was kind of easy.
See, unless I think some of the fastest cars in the game down the straight, I mean, nowadays would have to be that Ferrari Challenge thing. If you fancy driving a rocket ship that has no turning and nothing else, just has speed, but GT3 cars, I think probably the M6. It's one of the faster down the straights.
Yeah,
I know. I almost touched 280 kilometers an hour here in the one lap before I was killed.
So it looks like Loveless got himself an SG30. That's a pit lane speed infringement, isn't it?
I believe it might have been, because they are actually still in the pits since the 22. So I'm wondering if they got that.
Have they parked it maybe? No, they are still 3. Yeah, they're
no,
No,
it just seems like so long that the little pit-in thing came on, and they've only just got to the bottom where the pit boxes are. At least these pit boxes down here are a welcome change from what used to be in ACC. We used to have to use the top ones, Tsar with the AlphaTauri Ferrari, the AlphaTauri Honda even, trying to get round Snowdog, goes far too deep into bus stop, and the Bentley loses another place. So Tsar up into 8th.
Battle of the Airties commences.
Yeah, this will be an interesting battle to see. One new gen, one old gen. Probably the old gen has a little bit of more sort of bite towards it, in some of the corners. But the new gen being so much more comfortable, you can see how much Paula could push. The closing speed, I think, was more than just the slipstream effect. That was that the 148 got a much better drive over Eau Rouge.
Just outright confidence.
Yeah, because you don't even really have to lift in that car now, whereas the Audi before used to be a little bit scary. The 223 has had another issue coming over the top of Radion. Will it be too much curb, or will it just be that rear damage?
Oh yeah, it just bottoms out.
Bottoms the car out.
That was a big accident.
But once again, another sensible thing, picking a side of the track and just sort of let the car coast over to there.
Dog barking in the background. I no longer am able to use RTX voice to cancel them out. So we're a couple of minutes away from the pit window opening. Do you think Blaze is going to be in straight away, or do you think he's going to take it a little bit easy and just go as far as he can? He doesn't have it easy. Grimm's right behind him.
No, the 115 has been... They've always been there, and they've been slowly chipping away. I've been watching sort of the last laps, and it's it's often a couple of attempts, taken by Blaze and a couple of attempts taken by Grimm, and then sort of yo-yo back. So both the drivers showing incredible pace. We can just about see Bracken in the background, the 77. That is our OnlyFans McLaren. And not a million miles away from him either seems to be those two Audis, Charter and Paula. They've been making ground on Bracken. I think they've kind of picked the smart thing where they're not fighting each other, tooth and nail, because they can see that they're catching P3.
Yeah, it's definitely. I wonder, has Bracken maybe just pushed a little bit too hard on those tires to start with? Because he definitely had the pace to keep with Blaze and Grimm, I think, at the start of the race. Dropped off a little bit.
Might have been, or they might have miscalculated that when you put race fuel in the car, obviously it will bring the pressures up a little bit. Might have been that they've kept the pressures either the same, or assumed that the temperature might drop off, so they've ended up with that. And the Ferrari Jasper dives into the pit lane, has decided that they've had enough of that 223, and I mean that is a very damaged Ferrari.
I just wonder if another lap that would have, could you have just struggled on for another lap? This is only going to cost them an extra pit stop, unless of course it takes that long to get down to the pit lane, but I don't think it's going to.
I think with that as well, they might have just been sort of weighing it up that it could have been another big crash at Radion.
Yeah, that's true. The car just could be just that more nervous.
It probably is. So that's I think why the Ferrari have come down. They won't be the only ones to come down as well. So they're still in some form of race, just not on the leading pack now. And there's a thing that I never noticed on this new gen car as well. Obviously the Audi, the interior is basically the same, but have you noticed it now wears its new steering wheel, which is lifted pretty much straight from a DTM car?
I did notice that. That's the first thing I noticed when I got it. I was like, ooh, nice shiny new steering wheel. At least they changed something other than the wing.
And they changed the air vent to the right of the driver. There you go. This is useless facts with Hemi as Bolly goes for a massive dive. And to the side by side, and Bolly takes it around the outside charter, saw it coming, gave the space. That was as late as you dare on the brakes.
Oh, that was a lovely move.
Just slots it in. You could actually almost see the back end. You can see the back end like slide out as they were on the brakes. The position held for the 148.
Now she just has to keep it. How is this going to... Will she pull away through Rouge and Radion with the superior stability? Oh, she goes wide.
Ooh, touches the curb, goes wide. And actually, look, the 24's got a little bit of a run, but I don't think it'll be enough towards the end. I think they're just out of striking range.
I believe.
We're going to look up the inside. Yeah, too far back.
I believe we have some penalties coming through. We do. They're currently being written up, so I don't know what exactly they're getting penalties for, but they're getting penalties. They're really starting to trickle through now. There's 4 cars with 5-second penalties. Yeah,
so now the stewarding has kicked into force, and I'm sure we'll get the piece of paper through of telling us what everyone has been naughty for in a little bit. But it does appear, especially through the second sector. I mean, look how planted that new gen Audi is. They can just pull away. You know, not really even trying much. Pit window is open.
Pit window has now opened. So I think we're going to see a few cars just dive straight into the pits to get some repairs and new tyres. But let's see how long this front battle goes on for. Grim has the fastest lap at the race so far. It did seem to catch up Blaze quite a lot there, but it seemed to have dropped back a little bit now through the second sector.
Yeah, so the best lap being a 220.182 and Blaze's best lap at 220.357. So once again, still very, very close from both of these drivers, but you know, it's managing to keep with it. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see what the strategy here is as we come up to the bus stop chicane. Is one of these drivers going to dive into the pits? No, neither of them are. And actually, one of the cars going into the pits, that's the 117, Skylar Foskey in, and the 621 man in.
Yeah, and had a big crash. So he managed to kind of keep it on track until this point, anyway.
But that does mean that he will probably come out in front of the people who've already pitted to fix damage, like, you know, Jamie and the others who've still yet to serve that mandatory pit stop.
Just having a look to see what we're like, and this is pretty much the closest battle on track at the moment at 0.7 seconds. Chuckles, of course, had that issue in Puyon and lost a fair bit of time with the spin all of their own doing. But again, that's just... I can't remember where Sarah qualified, but she's just kind of kept out of trouble and just cresting on the top 10 here.
Yeah, which is half of the battle, you know, just sort of just keep it consistent. But you've got to. This is probably the scariest area for a Porsche driver is the end of sector 3 and coming into sector 1 when you've got a big looming Mercedes, looking behind you. That is the 2020 version, a little bit slower than its 2015 counterpart was. There's a few more cars going down the pit lane there, but it's still a lot faster than a Porsche is in a straight line.
Yeah. So we do have a couple of penalties now. The car number 555 got a 5-second penalty for collision with the 123 car. Car 22 got a 5-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin. Car 223 got a 5-second penalty for something that happened with car number 10. And car 117 got a 5-second penalty for colliding with car 41 A 5-second penalty of car 41 for an unsafe rejoin due to that collision.
So there you go. Penalties starting to come in, and for some of these drivers, if they already haven't, or if they already have been down the pits, they'll have to serve it in that pit stop. Anything got after your mandatory pit stop will be added onto your end race time. So if you still have a 10-second penalty to serve, it'll be added on at the end. I think as well, looking at this two battle, I'm wondering as well if these drivers are judging it, by where the traffic is. There is a car coming out of the pit lane, or a couple of cars coming out of the pit lane, but I think they'll crest it and be gone. Yeah, there you go. They'll crest it and be gone long before those cars come out. So they still have a completely clear track ahead of them. If they've got the fuel load, I think it would be, these two are going to run it out right to the end. Because what you don't want to happen is get stuck in backmarker traffic, because then that can, that could bring the 115 very much into this battle, whether Blaze wants it or not.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting play into what they're going to do here. Can the Porsche, I suppose it's not too bad on its tires, but again, the NSX is kind of an unknown here. I don't know what it's like now that after the update. Is it great on its tires? Is it terrible on its tires? This is going to be what we're going to find out today, I think.
I mean, it used to burn rear tires up just like they were going out of fashion, but like you said, the car got updated to Evo 2 standards without adding an Evo 2 to the game, whereas the Mercedes, Ferrari, Porsche, everything else, got a separate car for it. The Honda just ended up being updated of its own. I think there's not many teams who even run that car anymore now.
I think there's nothing.
It's GT America.
The car changed at all, other than kind of maybe bop or some kind of weight. But other than that, I think the car is pretty much the same as it always was.
It got a few odds and sods, but not much. I think everything that got changed was within realms of the balance of performance of what they could already do with it. It's not like a full rehash like the Mercedes was, for example.
Yeah, not really a whole lot happening on track. Alexis has got their car fixed. So they're now closing up on Jasper, who has also got their car fixed, but they still have to pit again.
Yeah, so there's a few people, but that's what I said from earlier. He will, both these drivers will still be in a fight of some kind, because there's a couple of people who've, the same thing has befallen them. So still continuing around, still trying to get, any kind of, either finish or points, or just managing to finish the race. And there you go, we can actually see the cars now that that have done the mandatory stop.
I just realised what you said to me. I just read Telegram.
Fezz has finally found the button on the broadcasting box that turns that on.
I was sitting looking at it, why can I not see who's pitted and who hasn't?
Well, you see, I was the same at RCI Fezz when they gave me the big box of buttons, and Stewie basically turned around and says, just do broadcasting and it's fine. And there was a lot of things that weren't explained to me. Also, how everything dies every 5 seconds. You will learn this. Generally, as soon as you press the broadcast button, that's how it does. We go live and it breaks. Welcome to broadcasting, ladies and gentlemen.
Why? Oh, that's the leaders coming through on Snowdog. That's why.
Leaders are coming through on Snowdog. Does not want to be part of anything of that. The two Audis as well have kind of distanced themselves.
Look at the gap
you said
pulled out.
Yeah, you said can Paul pull it out? The answer to that question is very much yes.
Yes. Nearly a 2-second gap now on Charter. Wonder if he wants to try the undercut. I think there's a couple of people who have options here for the undercut. We've got Grim, 1.6 seconds behind. That's going to be that's quite wide on the track limits there. Do you think the undercut's going to make a difference here?
It's difficult because even with the undercut, I think the the speed of the Porsche. You know what I mean? You're not really gonna gain it, because so long as the NSX has a decent stop, as soon as they've got onto the Camel, you can almost accelerate to the same speed that the Porsche will be doing with a full run up. You know, before they've kind of got to it. Where I think this is going to come down to is who has practiced their pit stops and who is, you know, absolutely familiar with their car.
I was just about to say, who can nail it on the marks? Who knows?
You get it.
I'm going to say that Grimm, they obviously do a lot of endurance stuff, so they're going to be pretty good at that. Blaze, has he practiced this? Has he practiced pit in, or has he just went for the fast laps? That's again, we're going to find that out shortly. But yeah, I'm going to say Grimm's going to nail their pit stop here and be perfect, and then watch them not be. I'm going to curse them right now. That's the commentator's curse right here.
It's like I said, I think that's what it's going to come down to, because both of these cars seem very, very equal paced. As it says, the gap kind of comes up, comes down. It's been as low as a second, and at the minute it's 1.9. We're just getting to the end of the stint, and I'm going to say that that's partly the Porsche. You know, it's just getting that little bit more twitchy and maybe a little bit harder to drive at the end of its stint, as Chuckles comes out of the pits. And this is what I was on about. Look, there goes the NSX, clean by does Pablo.
It caught me off guard there. I forget it shows a yellow flag for when you're coming out of the pits for some reason.
Good old ACC. I mean, it is technically, at least it makes the drivers think about it, because, you know, there is a car rejoining, which can be a concern. And now this might bring things back into contention for both the Audis. Paula, 2 back markers ahead, and then Bracken. So Paula will want to get through these as fast as they can in the 148, because Bracken's right there. That is P3. It's out there for the taking if they can get around.
It seems like they're getting a bit of a helping hand from the back markers.
I'm wondering as well if Schurex is actually, which is the all chrome Aston Martin, I'm wondering if they're wanting to try and unlap themselves from Bracken.
It does look like they're kind of hustling Bracken along. Of course, Bracken is not obliged, and Bracken throws it in the pits. Does Paula follow? No, Paula continues.
No. Paula continues, so that might actually be what we might see here is the overcut, because the 148 will now, as I was going to say, the 148 might have the toe of Schurex. Nope, Schurex decides to move well out of the way of that battle. So the 148 continues on. If they can put maybe 1 or 2, really flying laps in, they might actually overcut it, and Grim Lilith comes into the pits. The 115 is in. The 37 continues out. So Grim electing to literally split the race in 2. Blaze, with the heavier fuel load, going longer. Now that'll be interesting, because it means that car will have a lighter fuel load at the end.
Depending on whether or not they actually... I don't know, Grim could be trying something different here. Maybe they have enough fuel to continue to the end of the pit window, but they just elected to take tyres now. Is that a strategy? Is that something we can look for?
Yeah, or maybe that the Porsche fuel load has got so low now that they've decided that they're actually losing time rather than the benefit of the lighter car. So it might be that actually go put some more fuel in it, you'll run a lower average lap time over the next 10 or so laps.
Well, that's not so much of an issue now that the 1.8 update. The Porsche is definitely not as scary on low fuel as it used to be. So you can run it down to basically qualifying levels of fuel before you start getting the understeer, the chronic Porsche understeer. So we're into the stages of shuffling about here, as there's not really many cars close together. This is probably the closest battle, 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, Snow Dog Man trying to work his way back up the field, the two-faced Bentley, as I'd say. And I think it's Schurex up ahead, the all chrome Aston Martin, who I think they're just trying to make their way back through the field from their earlier crash and subsequent pit. So obviously they'll have had to pit twice to make the mandatory stop as well.
So they let Paula past, and they seem to be keeping up with her. Oh, Paula dips into the pits.
Oh, Paula dips into the pits. So the 148 into the pits. We'll have to keep an eye on
Charter goes into the pits as well.
So both Audis electing to follow each other in. Be interesting to see where Bracken comes back out. After these two Audis. So Bracken is at Bruxelles, I think. It's going to be close. Usually, when you're around about there, it's going to be very close on pit exit. You might think, well, they're miles away, yes, but Spa pit lane is extremely drawn out.
You enter Spa pit entry, and it is then an eternity until you exit Spa pit exit.
Well, with a drive-through, you lose, like half a lap, almost 3/4
90
of a
seconds
lap.
Is it for a drive-through?
Yeah, so you lose, a good over half a lap, I'd say, at least.
Plus stopping on top of that's 30 seconds, so there's about 20 seconds there, give or take, that you lose by a pit stop. Well,
yes.
Sorry, 20. You know what I mean?
It's going to be close.
Oh, no.
And the 64. Have they just come out of the pits as Pablo?
No.
Nope, he was going up.
Oh, too much curb on the way in. Unsettled the car. They keep it out of the wall. That's just as well someone wasn't coming out of the pits there.
No, well, that's what we mentioned, pre-race, is that you can be there coming out of the pits and have someone completely spinning across you. That is exactly what's happened. Grimm has managed to come back out in 6th position. Just continuing on a relatively fast stop, I'd say, from them as well. I'm looking at their pit delta. It was a 1:56. A lot of people are in the 1:58s to 2 seconds, so they did manage to get that stop down, it would appear, the 1:5. We don't have a pit delta yet for the 37, as obviously they've come into the pits. The two Audis are now leaving the pits.
So let's see in relation to Bracken. Oh, this is going to be close.
Bracken's there, Charter's in front, but he doesn't have the drive.
Paula is jumping. Bracken must have lost a fair bit of time in the pits.
So Bracken's stop was a 1:58, and Paula's stop was a 1:56. So once again, the people who are nailing it down, and that means that the slight lead that Bracken did have has been erased and converted into this. Paula leads and trying to get around all the traffic.
Charter messy because there's a fight going on in front of these guys.
It's probably the
lets them all pass, no problems, easy, still kind of there.
It's probably the hardest point when you are, the car trying to get through and you're also battling, but then you're trying to get through a battle as well. You've really got to pick your moment.
Definitely wasn't short of Blaze is in the pits. So this is going to be interesting now as to where Grimm comes out. So we have another, say, 30 seconds before that happens. Bracken's really lost out in this traffic.
Charter just managing to get by the 18, trying to give them all the space in the world.
bit of rallycross there.
And then some sort of gave the Porsche space, didn't want to have anywhere near them as Cerulin, the 94, comes in and is caught up right behind Sarah.
Of course he can't, that's really slow entry from Sarah. Or they can't.
So there you go, 604 in, and the 94 got held up. They got held up behind. Right, Blaze leave the pits. The 37 is out. I think Blaze is well done enough. His stop was a 55.6, so he was already a second faster than Grimm.
Although that's quite a hello.
It's a fair overspeed, but I think they're still going to be outside of striking range come to Les Combes. Because look, the Porsche just doesn't have enough to get all the way down. That's what I mean. The NSX with the acceleration. That gap has closed up, though.
Grimm has the hot tires. Oh, this is going to be a move.
Just looking for the cutback maneuver.
Oh, is he going to send it? He thinks better of it, but Blaze gives him a wide berth.
But then takes the corner back regularly.
Nice hot tyres on the Porsche. He can continue to push. Blaze is going to have to try and bring them in gently, otherwise they're going to ruin their tyres.
Oh, looks at the inside of Poulon.
A bit of a defence there.
Darts it back.
That's the last thing Blaze wanted, was to have to defend on brand new tyres.
And it's once again, look how tight the Porsche can carry the line through Poulon. So if the NSX ran wide at all, they could nip up the inside, but it's not to be. This is really where the Porsche is in its element, is say the sector end of sector 1, sector 2, and coming out of sector 3. But I think if they've not managed to make anything work, by coming out of Stavlo here, Blaze manages to keep it on track. Yep, just about. I think now the Porsche is kind of, you've just got to sit in the toe.
He's gaining. I don't know what to say here. It's a phenomenon. The Porsche is gaining a bit on the NSX.
Will it be a move into the bus stop chicane?
And he thinks better of it. Well within the limits there.
But then Blaze was slightly deep into the bus stop. It's just those couple of tenths being chewed away each time by the 115. They're getting closer and closer. If they can stay this close, through Eau Rouge and such, and coming up to Lake Com, then this is when you start making a move in the Porsche. Because realistically now, you're not going to be able to do anything to that NSX in a straight line. But let's see if the Porsche can gain anything up through Eau Rouge Radion. It's basically flat, and it is flat, maybe a tiny lift. But there you go, look, the NSX has managed to eke it out, and they're just driving away now. They're 6th gear, and you've lost all acceleration now.
That was nearly 4 tenths that gained up Eau Rouge Radion.
But then it comes back to sector 2, and look at that, Lake Com, that is just erased because of the Porsche's great handling.
Look at this.
Ooh. Slightly wide, you got to be careful on those as well. Over there is another track limits right up behind.
The window is now closed.
This is getting spicy.
The pit window has now closed, but all drivers have made their pit stops, so no extra penalties for that.
My initial thoughts are, how much did Blaze have to push those brand new tyres to stay in front of him? That's going to be interesting in about 10 minutes with those tyres. If you push them on the first 2 laps, really, you're really going to notice it maybe 5-6 laps later.
Yeah, it might just be that starts the graining off. That being said, though, managing to actually eke out slightly from the Porsche, it looked like they got a little bit of aero wash going through Poulon. They just saw the car sort of slowly, slide out to the outside. So the 115 still managing to chase down Blaze, but it's not been an easy ride for the 37.
Nope, he hasn't had it all his own way. He's definitely been hustled, at least in these later stages of the race. Speaking of being hustled, Charter is now closing the gap on Bracken.
Yeah, so the 77 looked really, really good in qualifying, but it just maybe that car doesn't have, the ultimate race pace.
I think it could be a little bit of an experience on Bracken's side. He does spend a lot of time in iRacing, so maybe just the pace is easy to find over the one lap, but ACC is kind of one of those games that the seat time really matters to your race pace.
Yeah, and just knowing the tricks like the tires and just that consistency.
Could he have pushed his tires too early, too soon? It's cool holding the gap. It's not a bad drive from Bracken. I mean, I would be very happy with P4 if I was him. I think he kind of lost his way with ACC recently. He kind of thought that it's not really his sim. He much prefers iRacing. But he's putting in a good show here today.
Yeah, and some of the people you're going up against, are, they spend a lot of time in ACC and have really sort of got used to their cars. I mean, I'm looking at, Paula in front. I don't think I've ever seen Paula drive anything other than the Audi.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much her go-to. she was quite excited when the new one was announced. And it seems to be, I mean, she's 15 seconds off the lead, but that's still a podium. That's where you need to be, you know, in case these two up front come together. That's the prime position to take the lead.
Oh yeah, you can never discount yourself, because as soon as they start, you know, if it got to the moment where Blaze made a mistake and really came under fire from the 115 and they started battling for, you know, 2, 3, 4 laps, that can easily erase, you know, 5-10 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, we have a bit of a issue here. What happened there? Just a Porsche Puyon experience.
I think so, because they've got no one around them. Breaking in, and there you go. It just sort of slowly rotates from under you.
Oh, a little bit of barrier tap. That might not be too bad.
Probably a bit of paint scraping and maybe a couple of canards knocked off, but not the worst it could have been. That is definitely a Porsche problem. If you are very vicious on the inputs, just slowly gets out from under you.
Definitely. Let's say we have 4 Porsches in the field. I was going to say I only thought 2 people had taken a Porsche, but yeah, we have 4 Hondas, 4 McLarens, 4 Porsches. So there's a fairly even spread of cars here.
Yeah, and then you have a few of the oddballs, the BMWs, the Ferraris, the Soul Bentley, and the Soul Mercedes.
So unfortunately, not a whole lot of people are getting screen time today because there's not really that much going on at the moment. We're kind of in a settled.
Oh, Charter! Holds it.
That was
somehow.
That was well held.
That was a very scary moment, I think. Touches there you go, the car goes light over the top.
Oh, that was... You see, if you had been driving the brand new Audi, that might not have happened.
Kept it very well under control, though.
Just very well kept under control.
Didn't panic, just held the brakes slightly, brought it back in line and continued on. Obviously not good for your lap time, but it's much better than being in the wall, which normally when you have a yellow flag over rally on, it means that someone has very much binned it.
Well, I know what I would prefer, pooing my pants over binning it in the wall. You know, one of them's definitely more comfortable than the other.
Yeah, so that leaves kind of our sole new generation Audi, the 148, to continue on P3, and they are pulling away from Bracken, at least the last few laps have been. You see Bracken's last lap into the 21.3s, still very good pace, but a lot of the people up at the sharp end are just eking into the 20s, and you know, like the front 2 runners are 20.5s. Interesting to see though that Paula's, you know, best lap wasn't too far away from some of the front runners, and that car's shown pace. It just maybe didn't have the qualifying run they wanted.
Azure makes a good point that the Audi is a paywall car, so maybe Charter just didn't fancy the new pack.
Yeah, that is a thing as it's part of the Challenger DLC. I wouldn't say though that the car is necessarily, you know, like the new Audi is the only way, and you can't use the old Audi.
It's not like the old Audi just became bad overnight. You know.
No, they're just different cars for different drivers now. Like the new Audi is a car that I would say a lot of, I won't say anyone, but I would say a lot more people can drive consistently, because that's what it was designed for in real life. You know, the gentleman driver. But the old Audi is still an absolute, you know, sharp weapon. But you've got to get used to its traits, which is a bit of a case of wanting to kill you.
Speaking of wanting to kill you, the Porsche, everyone.
Poor ZZ's, that Porsche looks quite beaten up as well as the 18, and they've got the Hondas.
They've struggled a bit. They did used to be controller. I think in the first 2 seasons of Simufur they were controller drivers. As we get, is this a pass for position? It is. No, it's not. Where am I? I'm completely the wrong person. Who is in that NSX?
I believe.
Skylar. There's two Skylars, that's why I got confused. I was like, that's Skylar, and I clicked on the wrong Skylar because there's two of them.
Yeah, the purple and white NSX just sort of getting by. I think as well they're kind of in a bit of a no man's land as well. It's Pablo trying to catch back up to Sarah. There's two Porsches off the Skylar.
Skylar lets them pass. It's not for position again. They are one lap down.
But now Pablo's in basically the perfect position as an NSX driver. You're behind a Porsche driver.
Oh, so they both go wide.
Straight, as they both go wide, manages to catch it back onto the track. No contact made.
That happens a lot more than I like to admit. You get the tunnel vision, and then you brake when they brake, and then
you follow the person in front of you. You follow the person in front of you, and not necessarily where you're wanting to go.
So it looks like with that mistake, they're not going to have the opportunity to pass this time round.
No, this time is too far out, I think, and even then, there you go, coming into Lake Orme, they're just outside of striking range. And has been closing in on Foxdale quite a lot with that BMW, having to let people by, and that has really hurt their pace.
Again, the BMW is one of them cars I haven't spent a lot of time in, so I don't know what it's like at Spa, because we have a yellow. Oh, that looks like a
snow dog.
That looks like an issue coming through Blanchimont. Is it going to be a clip on the inside curb? It is. Yeah, that's just it's a high-speed accident.
I can confirm that depending on what setup you run, you can make the Bentley do that, and that's the Porsche Skylar off as well, the 117.
Nope.
We didn't catch
seconds wasn't enough, apparently.
On the end. Yeah, we didn't catch what happened to them. Sort of opting to go down the grass as all the cars pass them and then rejoin after the Ferrari. Yep, there you go. The BMW at Spa, it's relatively good, as Foxdale actually makes a slight mistake into Lake Orme there and will end up surrendering the position, but has been...
Was that a tap?
Was that a tap? They've been knocked off the road. So they go wide. This is the other McLaren. Just easy, too hard on the throttle.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks like the Snow Dog is...
Come down pit lane.
It's been better now. Yeah.
I think the new BM is a very good car all round. It just, there's some moments where it is infuriating. One of those being if you are racing a fast car at a particularly straight line circuit. So I can't actually remember where I finished. Oh no, Pablo!
Oh, what happened there?
64 has had a massive crash. So what happens here? Got right on board.
Wow.
Car just went out from under them. I think they lifted, and that just really unsettled that NSX. That was interesting. I've never seen the NSX do that to anybody.
I've never seen a car crash like that there.
I almost thought that it would be a wheel disconnect or something.
It did look like that. It just looked like maybe the wheel just kind of jolted to the left or something, but that was a strange one.
Yeah, I can't remember where I finished OVRC Spa.
That was Mercedes you were in, was it?
No,
was it last season?
The last season when I ran the new BMW. I can't actually remember where I finished in that. I don't remember it being bad, but I don't also remember it being standout good. I
actually don't even remember them racing Spa. Maybe that's just me. That was kind of a season to forget for me, so I don't know whether I raced for the last 4 races. Pretty much.
I do remember remember at Monza it being infuriating. As Bracken's trying to get around Skylar, back marker, threw a poo on. I do remember it being infuriating at Monza because I was racing Mike Stoffmeal in the Ferrari. And no matter what I did through every single corner, and no matter what I did through Ascari, and no matter what I did through every other thing, the Ferrari would pull away in a straight line. And unless if you've been to Monza, most of it is a straight line. And that 117's day has just gone from bad to worse for Skylar. I think once again that car has just picked up too much damage now that it's starting to drive. Yeah, there you go. It's just starting to drive, terrible.
Yeah, that's all kind of... The mistakes are starting to come again. This is a race to forget for some people.
And Blaze has managed to pull back out as well, so he has... unless Blaze has a big mistake, looks like it might be the 37th day, so a good start for the season from them thus far. Anyway, 3.8 seconds pulled out from the 115. So I think as much as we...
Still plenty of time to get track limits.
Oh, yeah.
Don't jinx it just yet.
As much as we feared the tyres, I don't think that those tyres have got any kind of graining on them, because that car is still showing it.
Yeah, he's still putting down 20.3s. Again, there's not really many gaps. Bracken's closed a little bit on Paula. She's getting held up by that mangled NSX.
Reading chat as well. It was apparently it's Chuckles' first race. That's the 448 Mercedes. So a top 10 in your first race, that's pretty good going, really. Anytime you're in a top 10, it's quite good.
Well, that's a first race in ACC. That's pretty much it. I'd take that as a win.
And also, Dolby has corrected me. I was at OVRC Spa. I was 4th, so it was BMW 234. So they could have all been bad.
Okay, fair enough.
Because you had Jansen and Nygaard, and then me.
Yeah, Bracken's pulling back Bolly here, but this isn't a foregone conclusion.
Now 5 minutes to go, with where the leader is, it's going to be maybe possibly. No, I'd say it's 2 laps because of where they are right now. I think it's gonna be very close, but it's gonna be 2 laps.
Yeah, that's gonna be 2 laps. 2 laps from now, basically.
Because 4:39 crossing the line, it's gonna be incredibly close. But
unless Blaze starts pulling 19s out of his ass, then I think.
Yeah, unless the 37 can pick up some pace, and then that'll be 1 more lap. But I don't think it's gonna be.
Again, there's not a whole lot happening now. It's catching a little bit on ZZ. And obviously qualified quite well. I think they were within the top 10, but then they had the spin and the crash.
And I mean, we said it at the start of the race that consistency and staying out of trouble would, that would be the key, really. And as much as the front 2 haven't really had anything, to deal with, Paula Brady, stayed out of trouble, kept it on the road, and even Charter really has managed to get up to P5. Obviously, Bracken's lost out a little bit, but still has stayed, relatively put. And then everyone else has kind of fallen off around them, Shurex and a lot of the other cars. They've all had problems.
Yeah, especially Jasper being one of them. He qualified, I think, P6. He qualified. And he's now way down 18th after a couple of massive incidents. Mostly from their own doing,
And that having to pit twice.
Yeah, pitting twice pretty much seals the deal around this track. Not so bad at the likes of Brands Hatch or something like that, but yeah, here it just pretty much kills your race. Although the point is, never give up. People, again, the rest of the field can have problems, so you can still have places to gain, and we do have points for every position, I believe. Down to 25, I think.
Yes, as long as you finish the race today, you'll gain some kind of points.
Yeah. And of course, we do have a drop around, so I've always been an advocate, did I say that right? For drop rounds in like sim racing series, because we all have real life. sometimes some things are just out of control, and you don't want a championship ruined by one thing.
Yeah, and it means that, you know, if you do have one race where it has really not gone your way, if you make all of them, you're still within, you know, championship contention. One bad race or one sign out doesn't mean, yeah, complete race over.
Yeah. Bracken took about a half second off Paula. Oh, he was a little bit deep.
A little bit deep, and that time taken will just completely open up back again. Well, they'll be coming up to the line. It was 0.6 last time. It's now 0.9, so yeah, 3/10 lost just there.
We are on to the penultimate lap now. One more time around, that'll be it. The temperatures haven't really changed too much. Started out at 32, track temperature we're at 33. So the tires stay consistent. The cars will still feel nice and grippy.
It's Bracken. It almost looks like it's that camera angle is very deceiving. It always looks like people are getting track limits, but it's just the way it, you know, sort of disappears over the horizon as it would.
Speaking of travel limits, no one has gotten a penalty for track limits.
No, which is normally a thing at Spa that happens at least once a race as the 77 goes off in the final moments. They get it back on the road.
What happened there?
Damn it, damage to the left side for the 77.
Just too much power on the exit. Oh no. That's unfortunate for Bracken. But that's pretty much going to cement Paula into third place now.
Put the power down. I think they were partly bouncing off, you know, over the curb as well.
Yeah.
I heard it called the leader is on the final lap, so yeah, it will be one more go around for Bracken. I think Charter is just far too far back, you know, 14 seconds. They have it. The P7 has come off. The 660, what's happened here? They're doing off their own? Yeah, once a similar thing. Fishtails down the road, and then the grass finally seals it. Oh!
The leader is on final lap now. The leader has finished the race.
The 37 will cement their championship sort of contention. The 115, a great drive. You really can't say anything wrong about that. It's a great outing for Grim. And with the 148 as well, made some positions, has looked really sort of, you know, very stable and consistent in that new generation Audi. So for the 148 for Leaport Racing, they will come across the line to claim the final podium position. Bracken qualified incredibly well, just didn't have the race pace as it was, but still a great start. And Charter 24th for the number 24 comes across the line, and P5 for the top 5. Shurex in the all chromey.
That is a good comeback from Shurex.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Shurex P6 from way down there. This car's had a crash. They've had problems. You know, they've not had it easy for basically the silver bullet, but have managed to come back up and you know, claim a good spot. Still fighting the 660s, wanting to get that position back from Zar, but it's not going to happen. Zar will take P7 and Skylar will come P8. And the 222 all the way back here. This is the other race Ventura car as well. Not really had to talk much about them, but they've also gained quite a lot of positions just by staying out of trouble. We haven't really, like, sometimes when you don't get talked about on a stream, you know, it's because you just haven't had anything to do, or your race hasn't gone wrong. Sometimes it's the better time.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good getting screen time, but maybe sometimes you don't want that kind of screen time. You just get your head down. Yeah, that's a top 10 from Safi. At least. Still 2 corners to go, so we'll not cement anything just yet. You never know.
And also, just behind them, we can't see them in shot, but they're about just 5 seconds behind Chuckles, the 448, for their first race, what we've been told in chat. A top 10, you really cannot complain with that. Like I said, I think I don't remember that car qualifying in the top 10 spot either. Just has managed to stay clean, stay consistent, stay on the road. Even with their slight spin, they've brought it back in. Cerulean will take P11 and Bunny will take P12.
Well, I don't know about you, but that was a great race.
Yeah, that was great to see. Like I said, a moment where we were trying to work out strategies, different cars at different strengths. The person who really did thought, like I said, we'd like to say quietly confident. They weren't. They were very vocally confident about their chances. The 37, well, it's proven to be right for them, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. It wasn't just given to them. The 115 hassled them the whole way. And I think this is going to be, quite the battle to watch. Can the 115, can Grim at the tracks where maybe the Porsche might have a little bit more of advantage, can they take it all the way to the front of the grid? It's kind of looking like it so far.
I think Catalonia is up next. That Porsche is going to be pretty strong.
Especially in the last sector where you need a lot of quick direction changes and a lot of, you need a car that rotates underneath you. That is going to be Porsche territory.
I'm really looking forward to seeing just what this NSX can do to other tracks, because this obviously the NSX was touted as the the intercontinental GT car. It was only good at the ICGT tracks. So has this update given it a bit more pace at the other tracks? I think we're going to find that out next week.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll join us for that next week's race. I think it is Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Catalonia. So that is going to be definitely one to watch. What will the 115 be able to pull out? Will Blaze manage to keep his championship alive? And give the two Audis as well. They'll be quite good at Catalonia. You can't really write out Paula or Charter either there.
I think the only thing we know for certain is it's not going to finish the way it did today.
No, you say that, but we'll have to keep an eye on the practice servers in the week as well and see what kind of times we're expecting anyway. So thank you for joining us for the inaugural round of the Simufur AM Championship Season 1 here at Spa. We hope you've enjoyed the racing, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, and I promise next week will go smoother. So thanks for joining us, and that was a great race. I look forward to seeing everyone's reaction in the Discord. And yeah, that's all it is from us today. See you later. Have a good one. Goodbye.